Man Show. Got a little something new for you guys. I found us a health and wellness correspondent. She's a real cool female out of ATL. She has her own business too. She doing big things. She got another little special thing she got about her as well. We're gonna talk about in segment number two with her. But this is right now is about you can learn about my new friend, our new correspondent, Dr. Vernette McKnight on the Bossman Show. Dr. Vernette, well, I know you's V. What's good with you? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you today?
I am lovely. It's a great day to be alive. What time to be alive? It's a great month of May. It's going right by us real fast. Mother's Day weekend, so it's all good in my hood.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. May is already seeming like it's breezing by, so I'm trying to figure out how to grab onto my bearings as we progress through 2018. So I'm excited about it.
No doubt, for sure, no doubt. So I want to introduce listeners to who you are, Vernette. Like, I want them to know about Dr. Vernette. So if you could, tell the listening audience about who are you and what do you do for a living? Because you got a job. Like, Tommy, you got a job.
I do. I got a job.
Yes.
So, like you said, Dr. Vernette, I am a cognition and movement therapist. So what that means is basically I utilize this type of therapy with my clients and my patients with intentional movements that help individuals achieve emotional, cognitive, physical, and social integration. And it's really beneficial both on the physical and mental health level because the therapy the therapy that I do can be used for rehabilitation, sports enhancement, injury prevention for my athletes, stress reduction for the general population, disease prevention. And then in addition, when you're looking at the concept of therapy, movement therapy, you can also gain the benefit of increased muscular strength, coordination, mobility, and decreased muscular tension. So professionally, that's what I do in my practice. In addition to that, where the doctor comes from is I'm a doctor of chiropractic. I also have background in psychological brain sciences and exercise science. So I basically merge all three of those components, mind, body, and soul, together and create my brand. So that's kind of what I do behind the scenes.
I see, and so that tells me why it's called the brainer ATL, right? Because it's like all different things. You got this big old brain and all these different activities underneath that brain, the brain you have. Is that why you call it Is that why it's called that?
Well, I actually partner with Dr. Samantha Brooks. She is also a chiropractor, and it is her business. My business is more of an independent entity that I provide services at the similar location. So basically, we look at chiropractic in a way of realigning the bony tissue, right? So your bones. So she facilitates that side of it heavily under the brand of the Brainery Atlanta. What I do is more so of the movement aspect. So I look at ligaments, muscle tissues, organs, all the soft tissue type stuff, including the brain and how that corresponds and interacts with the chiropractic side, which is the bony side. So my specific brand alone is Dr. Vernette Holistic Health. And under that brand, I have four branches, I guess if you would call it that way. First one is education, right? Education outreach. So I serve as a health educator in different entities. Right now I'm linked with Georgia Tech. I've got some independent contracting positions that I can't really mention at this point, but once we unfold what that looks like, then I'll add that to the segment. The other component, the second part of the brand is the services, right? So we just kind of talked about that. Movement therapy, cognition therapy, chiropractic. The third is media, right? So that's coming on, partnering with you to expand and diversify your brand and your audience and their knowledge. But then also I've got 2 TV shows kind of under my belt. The first one is Pilates Please. So it talks about Pilates as a movement system. And then the second one is Walk to Wellness, which is more so of like a roundtable discussion. The most common struggles that our society presents with, right? Stress management. What if I do if I'm anxious? How do I create a healthier, more balanced lifestyle? Those type of things. We sit down, we have a conversation about that. So the third one actually was a true treat for me because I integrated my children. I've got two little, a boy and a girl, school age, and the title of the show is Growing Up Fit. So it's an active fitness show with my children in addition to some other kids that joined along. And we talk about the importance through movement. We talk about the importance of growing up in a healthy lifestyle, healthy environment. So that's the third one. And the fourth one is products, which I've done a soft launch, but the first product that I came out with under my brand is intentional journaling. So that's more the mind, the cognition part of what I do in my brand, which you sit there in a group or you can be one-on-one with me, and we talk about what are your intentions? What are the things that you struggle with? Where do you want to be versus where you are? How are you honoring the present? And how are we able to integrate a healthier lifestyle? So it is a lot that I do, but to be honest with you, it's definitely very rewarding for the clients that I serve, the patients that I serve, and the results that come from the work that we do together.
You know what? I can tell already. You have passion for what you do because some people come on only on this show and they just like they're reading off a script. You're reading with you're talking about it with passion. You're not reading a script because I can tell who's really just reading off a script or who really care about what they do was just a paycheck. This is you really believe in this. You really want to help others. You want to use your brand for good to help people, which is we need more and more of in our society based on what we're seeing going on outside of the realm of health that was in sports and entertainment that we deal with. But it's just like people like you and I need to be in this world to help people and show them a better way, a way to improve themselves so that when they won't get down and always be in the dumps about stuff they can do it if you just put your mind to it. I know it's a trite saying, but it is true though.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. And the reason why I even started my brand was, and to be honest with you, I have been thinking about how can I serve my communities. And with me having an undergrad in psychology, I was like, okay, well, maybe I can do counseling. But growing up as a dancer since age of 3, I'm classically trained as a ballerina, and then I did competitive dancing, never did any traditional sports, but the dancing was truly enough when you're talking about competition dance. I transitioned into health and wellness probably at the collegiate level when they didn't offer dance as a major. And my mom was like, well, you're going to have to do something else because they don't offer it at the university that I'm choosing for you to go to. So I take psychological brain sciences. And while I was in school, I found that I love the integration of movement and how it was releasing for me to be able to be at peace even in the midst of chaos, right? But I didn't really pay attention to it, right? So then fast forward, I was like, you know what, let me get more involved in fitness because it seems like that's kind of the trend that's going. Yeah, the psychology degree, but I don't really know what I want to do with that. I want to expand in kinesiology, right, study of movement. So I got a master's in exercise science, and coupled with that degree, we gain certifications. And so one of the certifications that I hold is a NASM certification, Sports Enhancement Injury Prevention. So we spoke more so on the athletic side and the rehabilitation side versus how I integrate it in the present day with just creating a healing space, right? So then fast forward, I'm like, okay, cool. I got, fitness background. I've got this exercise science. Okay, I got the psychology. Okay, so I've got mind and body, but I still feel like I'm missing something, that I'm not really complete in what I want to offer. So chose to go to chiropractic school really as a tool in my toolbox. So not necessarily with the intention of serving primarily as a chiropractor, but more so of gaining that terminal knowledge, right? Terminal degree. So gaining that additional knowledge so that way I can speak on a clinical level, but then also be able to translate on a layman's level, right? And so when I finished my schooling, I sat down, and you know what? I had a moment. I had several moments, right? Like, well, what am I going to do with all this stuff? It seems like it's all over the place. I have all these talents, and I don't want to negate any of them. And mind you, like I said, I'm a mom of two. So, I'm juggling their lives and my schedule. And so I'm like, I want to do all of these things, but I don't know how to integrate it. And so I was talking to a girlfriend of mine, and she was just like, put it all together. And she said it so, like, simple. And I'm like,
I
okay,
see.
I don't know how to do that. And I'm telling you, emotional responses came. I'm crying, I'm frustrated, I'm like, I've done all this schooling for the last decade, and I still kind of feel like I have the talent, I have the knowledge, but I don't really know how to serve. So I'll tell you this, in the truth moment, I found myself struggling with all of the integration, because in our society, it's like you label each other, right? So you go to school, you got to be a chiropractor. You go to school for psychology, you got to be a psychologist. I'm like, okay, but I don't want to be just one. I don't want to just carry one title. And furthermore, why does it have to be so linear? Why can't it be multidimensional? And so I was looking at how I wanted to build my brand and what I even wanted the name to be. And so even though my friends at the time disagreed with me, because it was so, like, maybe it just didn't make sense. I don't know the word to put with it. But I was like, well, I just want to be Dr. Vernette. Like, and these are the services that I offer. It's under alternative medicine and holistic healing. But I also can serve in the athletic department. I can serve in the general population. You've got people that are coming in and they've got back issues, shoulder issues, or they've got stress and anxiety, which I find a lot of that, whether you're in the athletic division, or if you're a single mom of two, or married with kids, or a working professional. We all still kind of have that commonality of we're still living in these compensatory patterns, right? Those are dysfunctional movement patterns. So that's the muscle. And then in addition to that, we're struggling with, how can we keep up with the next person? Am I providing enough for my family and for myself? What other stressors do I have that I have to manage on a regular basis? Because stress is going to go away. It's going to be around. So I'm like, you know what? I just want to have my own brand and offer myself to my community. And that's exactly what I did. Now, at the time when I decided to do that, for people that didn't really get my vision and didn't see it, they were like, dude, you're like all over the place. You need to pick one thing. And I was like, you know what? I don't. Because I feel it in my spirit. I feel it
Amen.
in my soul, where I can offer these things and it makes sense. And you know what? I'll tell you, it started to unfold. And it started to unfold within myself first. I did a lot of therapy with myself, whether it was movement therapy, cognition therapy. I did aromatherapy with myself, intentional journaling. I do energy work like Reiki. So I started to do this stuff with myself, and I noticed I was so much more balanced in my life. Now, I still, you teeter-tot every once in a while, but I still felt like I was able to manage being mom and manage running a business and manage seeing patients and clients, and then still being able to give back and invest into myself. So you still got to do self-love, self-acceptance, self-awareness, right? So finding my calling honestly happened within the transition of allowing myself to be who I truly am versus in a box where people usually put ourselves and each other in, because that's our society does that. So I just found it interesting that within the brain that I've created within myself, it's kind of been a roller coaster. That's what it is. Being in a business for yourself, it's like you wake up, you're like, oh, it's gonna be a great day. At the end of the day, you're like, oh my God, what did I sign up for? And then you just go back and forth. But
Yes, indeed.
once you do what you love to do, at the end of the day, you're along for the ride. You're enjoying the journey as it comes, and you're fully transparent with just everything that just unfolds from you doing what you're purposed to do.
You got that right, and it's funny you say what you said. I told the same story on the show in previous years about how I decided to do radio without others' approval because I have
Mm-hmm.
degrees in business and masters and all that good stuff and minor in psychology. Why choosing the radio and DJing and hosting? Because that's how I can affect people the most with my voice and with my connections with people in the business who know athletes, know artists, and know people who I can bring to my listeners to help them hear a story like your story, who may inspire them to do and be better. That's why I got in the business. See, you and me have similar background. So, yeah, at first it was like, yeah, you crazy, but then now that this whole Bossman Entertainment brand is working, now what? Now who was crazy? Was it me or you? So it's like,
Right. It unfolds, and then that becomes your norm, and it's like, this is just who I am. Whether it's accepted or not, I have a voice to share, and it doesn't have to be in a traditional delivery as long as you're delivering the message. That's what's impactful.
amen to that. I'm with you right there on that. So let me ask you this: so when what tell me, like, if we're trying to get people to buy into what you're selling, buy into your methods, how hard is it to get patient buy-in and get people to say, hey, this is God did for me? Because some people are not willing to still go with the holistic route and the natural health route. They're more so still stuck in that way of thinking, let me go to like a doctor. So how do you
Mhm.
get people to overcome like that barrier right there?
Well, that's a really good question. Most of the people that I come in contact with is through conversations, really organic conversations. And it doesn't come from a perspective of me trying to sell them or have them buy into it. It's really, hey, so what's going on? Okay, we'll talk about it, and they'll ask me questions and I'll answer the best that I can. But I find that usually we have a common um, a common topic that we tend to talk about. Yeah, I'm stressed out from work, or yeah, I'm trying to find balance, or what would you recommend for an exercise program, or how do you balance, being a mom and trying to eat right and trying to stay in shape and do all these things. And that's the commonality, right? So you find something in common with the person, your prospect or your lead, if you will, a traditional sense. But when I have these conversations, they really do organically unfold. I don't feel like I have to have someone buy into what I do. It's more so the curiosity. Okay, what do you actually do? I don't know what that means. And then we sit down, and that's where the layman talk comes in, right? So I'm able to transition from medical terminology to the layman terminology. And, they're saying, well, I've got this back issue that's going on. And I start talking about, okay, well, it's probably this muscle that's the root of the issue. Although a lot of people will say that, oh, well, my knee hurts. Okay, well, is it coming from your ankle? Have you ever had surgery? Is it coming from your hip? Have you ever fallen, backwards or forwards or whatever? And so then when we start to have that deep conversation of understanding, right, that's a patient education that I'm huge on, then they start to become curious themselves. Okay, where can I find you? Like, how can I build an appointment with you? And then we'll go through a specific screening process to make sure that we're both a good fit, and then usually move forward as a patient of mine. On the other end of the spectrum, when you have somebody that is a little bit more resistant, less open to the idea of holistic healing and care, well, really the same thing. You have that dialogue, and if it's not a good fit, you respect where they are. But I'll tell you this, what I've noticed over the last year is that people are wanting to take more control of their own health. And that's really, like, the simplest term, that's what I'm about. I teach people and empower people to own their own health, whatever that looks like, whether it's somebody struggling with diabetes, or they just had surgery, or they're looking for nutritional content, or they're wanting to move more efficiently, or, an athlete wants to improve their speed and agility, even just a millisecond, while they're competing or going to the combine or what have you. So the conversations really have intentional context to it. So when you're looking at somebody is resistant against transitioning into a holistic approach, really, I think that there's a place for the medical field, but then I also feel like there's a place for the holistic part of it. And because we are trending as a unit into owning your own health and what that looks like, think people are a little bit more receptive than maybe what they had been even 5 years ago. So that's kind of the conversation piece that I have with them.
Sounds good. I got one more for you before you move on to our next segment with you. Uh, what sets you apart from others in your field? Because I want my listeners to go buy into you, especially one in Atlanta. You local ATLians. I want you to go see Dr. Vernette and tell her I sent you. And if you don't, I'll hit you all with a rock bottom. Okay, 'cause I'll really
I
cook
can't.
you out. But
Don't
can you
get
smell what the
violent
boss is
with
cooking?
them.
But tell the people what sets you apart from others in your field, though.
Well, I would say the main thing is my personality, but I'm present. Uh, Present with the person that's in front of me. And what that means is, on a logistic terms, no cell phones, no distractions like iPads and, other things that can take away from me being authentic with that person. I share myself with them. It's very, like I said, it's very organic. It's very authentic, very transparent, because this person is coming to you very vulnerable. And it's tough to be vulnerable in the first place. But to be in the presence of someone else that's a new person, it takes some time to remove some of the barriers that are built, because we grow up in our society, which I could get on a whole nother tangent about that, but we grow up in our society saying, get up, dust it off, be strong, go hard, and it's less about, okay, well, let's honor how you're feeling right now. Bring no judgment, but we're accepting and we're acknowledging how are you feeling, okay? And then what are the behaviors that come with those emotions? So that's what I mean by being present and being intentional about offering a safe space for my clients and my patients. And then also the second part of that is, if we decide to move forward, I do offer a screening process that's usually complimentary, depends on the case. But we see if we're actually a good fit, because to be honest with you, I may not be a good fit for that person and vice versa. And that can be okay. I've got a team of other people that I would suggest for them to work with if it's appropriate. But making sure that you're a good fit with the person that you're working with is essential to help them progress through their healing process or their transition or their therapy or rehabilitation. And the reason why it's so important is because there is an interaction that is happening every single time that you're in that space with that person. You need to be supportive. You need to be open to how that process progresses. And there's sometimes where it's going to be regression, but when you have those regressive moments, being present with them and supporting them and saying, hey, this is part of the process, like healing is kind of tough, right? Then being also supportive when they are progressing, that's an intimate experience for people. And if you show them that you have good intentions to be there to support them as their support system without distractions, and you're truly present with them, that relationship grows into a bond that really is unbreakable. And then after they transition, they own their own health, and you follow up with them, but you also make sure that they know that you're still there. And that's what I do for my clients and my patients. Regardless if they come on with me or not, I still have intentions of building that organic relationship, so that way they know that, yes, I'm here to hold space for you at any point during the journey that we share together. So that's what I think makes me different from the next practitioner. Yeah.
I could go with that. Hey, you heard it yourself. This is Dr. Vernette. You will hear her on the show weekly on the Bossman show. But look, we're going to take a short break here. We should come back with another segment. This is something that I didn't know about, so I looked at on Instagram like it was some weird stuff. So I'm going to talk to y'all about it. But it's all good. We'll talk to you after the break. Dr. Vernette, Bossman, we back with you. Stay tuned.
Travis Williams, President and CEO of Academics and Athletic Consulting, focusing on educating and empowering tomorrow's collegiate athletic leaders. My passion is for the education and genuine concern and care for today's student athlete. It's the centerpiece of my life's work. A college education, both in and out of the classroom, is a truly rewarding benefit. For more information on AAC, you can go to www.academicsandathleticsconsulting.com. Once again, www.academicsandathleticsconsulting.com. Or you can follow me on Facebook at Academics and Athletic Consulting, or Twitter at Coach TWill24, or Instagram Travis L. Williams 24. Or you can call me at 404-542-6079. Once again, AAC is very proud to partner with J.R. McHenry of the Bossman Radio Show, covering sports and entertainment across the country. Please tune in weekly for informative, entertaining, and expert analysis on today's sports and entertainment topics. Thank you.
A gorgeous tan from Suntan City gives you an inner glow that relights the fire when you run into your first crush.
Vicky, who was that?
An old boyfriend.
Lucky you just tanned at Suntan City.
Lucky he's single. We're doing lunch tomorrow.
Won't be single for long then.
During Tour of the City, try all 5 tans, including spray tan, for just $4.99. Restrictions may apply. Click to buy now.
Suntan City, let yourself shine.
Hip-hop fans, I got a great album for you. The debut album from Family Grind ENT, True Speech and 313 Fresh. We're going to give you 2 discs, 33 songs of pure, genuine hip-hop. Albums available on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, illstreetrex.com, and streaming live right now on Rhapsody, Beats Music, Spotify, Xbox Music, Slacker Radio, and SoundCloud. Check them out today. True Speech and 313 Fresh. Family Grind ENT. Believe in it. Get it.
Folks, we're back here on the Bossman Show. Like I said, Dr. Vernette will be right back with me. And we're going to talk about what kind of brought us together, because I was on Instagram straight flexing while I was scrolling. And I happened to see this weird hashtag, black surrogates. And surrogates is like, what? I said, hold on. When did black women start being surrogates? And I'm like, when did that happen? And so I got curious, and I'm like, this could be a good show segment, because this don't happen. And I don't know about this. As you all know, as our good friend who had her baby last year, I don't know nothing about no pregnancy. I don't know about none of that stuff. I'm dumb to it. I ain't got no kids. But we try to learn from her. We didn't learn too much though. But I love you. You didn't learn nothing from me though. But whatever. But it's like you know. I said, no, so let me reach out to her. This is some different stuff here. This ain't nothing I'm used to. It's done. I think she's in Atlanta, so local, so it could good work for the show as well. So I reached out to her about it. And Dr. Vernette's a surrogate, which I was shocked. I'm like, man, that's different stuff there. And I met her. You know, we went to a nice little spot, talked, and like I said, she carrying them things. She carrying them twins though. She doing it big now. I think she's 20 weeks now. She got that Panther Rock going with her, popping out of her like that, moving on her. But we gonna have to talk about her surrogacy, because it was like, man, that's different. So she's a surrogate mom carrying two twins, you know. So I want her to talk about the process, how she got into it. So Vernette, it's on you. I kind of explained it to you. I explained it pretty good how we came together, because you know I don't want to mess nothing up and tell nobody no lies here, you know.
No, no, you're good. That was perfect. So, like Jared said, I am a surrogate. I'm a gestational surrogate. So, I kind of talked to him a little bit about what a surrogate is, what the process is, why I chose to do it, and then some most common questions. So I'll start with what is a surrogate, right? So a surrogate is a person a woman, right, that carries a pregnancy for another person. That's as simple as it gets. Now, you have different types of surrogates. The fundamental types are traditional surrogates, and then you have a gestational surrogate, which I am a gestational surrogate. So the traditional surrogate is a woman, a mother, who carries the embryos, the babies, with her eggs. So they have the sperm from the intended parents, or maybe it's a donor, depending on the couple and or person that you're working with, right? Because you have different dynamics these days. You've got a woman who may want a child on her own without a partner. You've got a man with the same desire. You can have a man and a woman where either the woman is infertile or the male is infertile, or you can have two dads, or you can have two moms. So we're diverse in this process of surrogacy. And so when you're looking at a traditional surrogate, the woman that's carrying the baby or babies will have her own surrogacy. My alarm is going off. Hold on just a second.
See, we're live here, people. This is live radio.
Can you hear the alarm going off, though?
A little bit, but it's all good. Look here.
Okay.
We've had fire alarms go off around here. We have smoke detectors go off before, so it's all good. We've heard it all here.
I love it. Okay, so I got the alarm turned off. Now, this is me just staying on time, right? Because part of me, being a mom of myself, and then also being an entrepreneur, which short version is a mompreneur, is making sure that I set my alarm. So this is my alarm to start our other segment. So I apologize about that. So getting back to what we were talking about, the traditional surrogate is the egg donor, okay? Now, in my case, I'm a gestational surrogate. So when I came into this process, I knew that I wanted to be a gestational surrogate. And what that means is I have no relation to the child. I'm not an egg donor. The child and her children are not biologically nor genetically related to me. I am responsible for just carrying the embryos that then develop into fetus and then present as babies. So as far as what my process looks like, we could talk a little bit about that. As I've mentioned with you, JR, I'm quite transparent. If there's things that I can't talk about, then, I'll choose to move forward. But I will share that the reason why I wanted to be a surrogate was because when I was a teenager, I got pregnant and I had an abortion, and it did not sit well with me at all. It wasn't my choice to begin with. Like I said, I was a teenager, so it was I didn't approve of the decision, rather.
Gotcha.
So I think I probably had a choice. But so let me change my words a little bit. And so I had the abortion procedure was successful without complications, okay? However, psychologically, emotionally, it just was heavy for me to be able to take humanity away and not, have peace with that. And so I understand that different people have reasons for making those type of decisions. Honestly, I just shouldn't have been in that situation in the first place, right? I can't necessarily say I would regret it or I would change or whatever. It's just kind of like, just don't put yourself in a situation and then you won't have to make the decision. So fast forward, it continued to be heavy on my heart. And when I did some research, really around the time a little bit after I had my son, he's 11 at this point, I came across surrogacy. And I was like, wow, okay, the concept sounds pretty cool because I took away from humanity, and so I want to be able to give back to humanity. I can do it in this way. And so as I started to do more research on the process, I wanted to make sure that I was comfortable with it, with the decision, and I wanted to make sure that it was a a part of my healing process. So the healing process is definitely multidimensional, and this is one of the ways to create healing from my childhood. So what I did was I reached out to a surrogate agency when the time came, which the perfect timing was at the top of last year. I think I shared with you I was going through a divorce from a 10-year marriage. Marriage was very abusive and destructive, and so my husband at the time was not okay with me going through the surrogacy process, which I found was a lot of men. They're like, I don't know if I'd be okay if my wife did that, which, hey, it's really just feedback. I don't take it in a good way or a bad way. You know, each relationship is different, and they take ownership of that. But my husband at the time was no different. And in fact, he was like, you're not having a baby by somebody else. And so for me, it didn't really sit well, but I knew in my spirit, I was like, I'm meant to do this. I was like, I don't know when, but I'm meant to do this. So at the top of last year, 2017, in January, we filed for divorce, and I immediately applied to a surrogate agency, and it was accepted, was matched. It was from the start a beautiful process. And what I mean by that is, you know, they're invasive with, it's like buying a house. They're invasive with like medical evaluations, psychological evaluation. You got to go and provide your birthing records for your children. And that in and of itself was like pulling teeth, only because my son was 11. And legally, the medical field, you only have to reserve records for 10 years. So I literally was shy of 10 years by like 3 months. It's crazy. So the agency was still okay. Gave them my daughter's records, which she's 7. And then from there, because the agency is stationed in LA and I'm in Atlanta, they flew me out to LA, did the medical eval, did all the screening. I did submit all these papers. And from there, I was matched. Because basically they want to make sure that like your healthy body, you know, to hold babies. And so that's not a complicated process, but it's very complex. Let's use that word. It's very complex.
Sounds like it's complex.
Which I appreciated. Oh, yes. And so now that process probably was about 3 months. So we're looking at March of last year. I was linked with a couple, 2 males, and immediately we clicked. And one of them is an artist, which I love performing arts anyways. And so we clicked on that level, and we shared different stories, and they were very supportive of what I did and who I am and the space that I was carrying at that time and why I wanted to go through the process. I mean, it was very just safe for me. It felt right. And what the next step was, basically, we get to choose each other. You can say yay or nay, and we both immediately contacted the agency. We're like, yes, this is a go. Now, at that time in March, I was under contract for a couple shows that I was doing, had some independent contracting stuff that I was doing, and a lot of traveling during the summer months with family and just vacation. And so I didn't know this at the time, but after we decided to move forward, we went through legal, which is contract signing. I think they flew me out again to LA to do another medical evaluation, basically saying, okay, hey, you need to take hormone therapy. This is what this is going to look like. You know, do ultrasound, make sure that your reproductive system is still a go, and, you know, just basically transitioning into preparing my body for embryos to be transferred.
Yeah.
And so I remember.
I said, wow, I'm just amazed.
Yes, it's a lot. And so I remember being on a call with some other surrogates, and one of the surrogates was dropped from their match. That's what they call that, just using the words that they call it. And so the reason why she was dropped was because it just wasn't a good fit. We didn't dive deep into it. But later I found out, I was like, you know what? They waited for me. My intended parents, the parents that are, the couple that's, you know, intending to be parents, intended parents, waited for me. There's couples and there's individuals that don't wait for surrogates. They're like, I want one now. And so if you're not going to do it right now, then we're going to move on to the next one. And or there would be intended parents that are very protective over what the surrogate eats, what the surrogate does, what's the lifestyle. They want to talk to you like every other day. And I'm like, whoa, my people are not that way. They are like, we trust you. We know that you're into health and wellness. They fully trust me 100%. And they're not invasive at all. Very respectful. And so I realized, I'm like, you know what? God, you are all through this, because I wanted to make sure that this process was as smooth as possible, right? There's going to be hiccups that comes with the process, but also that I have people who are in my corner that understand that, hey, I'm trying to make sure that I am still present with my kids, that I'm still present with my clients, that I'm still able to live a regular lifestyle without it being so invasive. And so I share that with you kind of as a preview, because it gets deeper than that. But I share that with you and the audience because surrogacy is not just, oh, let me carry the baby for 9 months, you pop it out, and you give it away. It's a very intimate process. And those who have been curious about it, whether they've been curious just out of curiosity or curious as far as moving forward to do something like that or to have a surrogate, it's important to be able to understand as much as you can without the experience, but understand the process that goes into this whole journey. It's different for everyone. Like you said, I am carrying twins. I'm 5 months pregnant, but I'm carrying as if I'm 6.5 months pregnant. So that's taxing on my body. I've already had 3 pregnancies. We talked about that. First one was the abortion. And the second 2 are live births, right? I have a 7-year-old and an 11-year-old. So I'm in my 4th pregnancy, and my body knows single babies. My body does not know twins.
Yeah, like,
So
I was shocked. I'm like, man, like, you kind of big for 5 months. And I'm like, man. But I get that you carrying twins is a whole different ballgame because you got 2 rather than 1. So I'm pretty assuming that means like more appointments, more ultrasounds, more all that stuff, right?
Well, it does for twins. As you start to get into your last month, really last kind of 6 weeks, you start to see your OB a lot more frequently, but they take more precaution. I would say the difference between a singleton and multiples is that they take more precaution with me being considered high-risk pregnancy just simply because I'm carrying 2, not because of my health or the health of the babies or anything like that. But, twins are known, not always, but are known to come earlier than their quote-unquote due date. And I've been thankful enough to locate a OBGYN who is brilliant in doing a vaginal delivery for multiples. Now, I understand that you're a guy. You probably don't know how that goes, but I will share with you that usually when you're pregnant with multiples in the medical field, majority of medical professionals who are OBGYNs who deliver babies, or OBs who deliver babies, they go straight towards C-section, which they cut underneath the belly to get the babies out swiftly. My doctor, on the other hand, is world-renowned. Women come from out of town just to see him because our appointments right now are every 4 weeks. So I can see somebody coming out of town. They're just driving in for the week, for the day. But he is adamant about wanting to express health and wellness first rather than being invasive, which, if you're cutting into someone's abs, I'd say that's a little invasive.
Very much so.
I had vaginal deliveries with both of my children, and I was very clear about wanting to make sure that I was working with someone that understood that that is my first go-to and that they were aligned with that. But if we need to do an emergency C-section for the life of the baby, I'm totally okay with that. So, there's a lot that goes into surrogacy that people just don't know. And I am carrying bigger. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said now, do you feel like you're fuller? I don't know, that you out of room already in your uterus, or do you feel like you just pretty much gonna be expanding, but do you feel like you got room to grow, or do you feel like you're out of room already?
Well, that's actually a really good question because I was talking to my patient today and I was like, I feel like I'm being stressed out. I was like, you know how you eat like an amazing meal and it's either like what, Thanksgiving or Christmas where you just chow it down with no restrictions and you sit back and you're like, woo, like your belly is as full as it's going to be. That is the sensation that I feel when babies are growing. So they've had a growth spurt probably 3 or 4 weeks ago where it was actually shortly after my room trip. So after I saw you, we met for lunch, I had grown. Before I was smaller, but they went through a growth spurt. And now, maybe about 3 or 4 days ago, once they started kicking, now I feel them expanding. Like I feel my stomach expanding. So is there room to grow? Yes. But I also feel the expansion when it's happening. So we'll see. I think every woman carries differently. I will share this part because this is my 4th pregnancy. Usually as you start to have more pregnancies, the woman shows quicker. So with my son, I didn't really show until I was maybe in my 2nd trimester. So 2nd trimester is about 28 weeks. But with my daughter, I was like 2 months and I had a little pooch. And I was, lean and fit. So with this pregnancy, I probably showed around the same time too, but then obviously there's 2 in there. So there's room to grow. We will be positive in our outlook as far as making sure that there continues to be room to grow so that way I can stay active and not have to be put on bed rest or anything like that. So we'll see.
Well, if you put on bed rest, I'll be more than happy to help you out.
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm going to call on you if it happens.
I'll be more happy to listen to be your support, let you vent to me or whatever it may be.
I appreciate that.
I don't mind being, because see, I understand you're doing God's work, so I don't mind being your legs, because I know you got some cooking for real. Like, you really got some cooking.
They are cooking. And I tell you, when we ate lunch, we counted down, man. Listen, I don't play by food. Now, I already don't play by food
like,
when I'm not
you were
pregnant.
hitting it. You were hitting it.
It was good food, though. Like, do you agree? Like, it was
It was good
awesome.
food. And you hang around me,
awesome.
I'll have you thick. I'll have you thicker than you want to be hanging around me.
Okay, no, we can't do that. So we got to stay on track now. We got a pound a week. That's all I got. So I can't be fooling around with you, gaining 15 pounds in 1 week. We can't do that.
Because I eat out like twice a day. I'm sorry, I do.
No, it's okay. But I can't be getting thick with you. I can't do it.
So that's why I limit to you
mission.
maybe like once a week around me, maybe, or twice a week, because if you around me every day, you be like, man, what happened to me? Man, look,
Yeah.
this
You're a whole nother body. Yeah. We don't want to be slow. Not this round. We don't want to be slow.
I feel you. So let me ask you this, so.
Yeah.
Now, do you worry now? Do you feel like you'll feel like an empty feeling once you give the babies to the intended parents, or because you feel like a connection to the babies because they are growing inside you, you feeling all their first movements, all this good stuff. So, do you feel emotionally attached to them, or it's more so you're doing a good deed and it's like more so business?
It's more the latter, and the reason why is because, and I get this question a lot. When I chose to go through an agency, that decision was intentional. It was calculated. It was analyzed because there is a level of disconnect that I'm able to have. Now, mind you, I'm very connected to the parents now. However, it's different when you do this deed for a friend or someone that you already have an attachment with. Because after the babies are born, I would want to know how are they doing every day, send me pictures, do this, do that. Like, I think that I would be a little overbearing. And that's how I don't want to say I'm overbearing in my friendships, but the circle that I keep is very intimate because, I don't keep a lot of people near and dear to me. And so if I were to ever do that for someone, that would be, if you will, a little too intimate, right? I would become invasive in that process. And so the reason why I decided to go with the agency was because I knew there would be rules in place that would be honored. We'd have negotiation, which is going through the contract signing. Everybody would be on the same page. We follow the rules and we move forward. And that's usually how my brain kind of is built and is operated. I'm like, I know my rules, stay within the parameters. I know my job. And that's essentially kind of what it is. It's a job. It's kind of a contracted job, right? And so I have the connection with the twins. I do. I feel them kicking. I feel them moving. I feel them growing. I see them on the ultrasound. You know, they're with me all the time, right? But that is the season that I'm in right now. And when that season transitions out, i.e. labor and delivery, and it's time to say goodbye, we have our time designated to say goodbye, and we'll stay in touch with each other. But at the end of the day, I've done what I wanted to do and desired to do. That is my journey, right? Creating life and giving back to humanity, back to what I was saying in the beginning of the segment. Because I feel like I took from humanity. I could have probably gone through that pregnancy and maybe gave the baby up for adoption. I probably maybe wouldn't have, just the way that I'm built, and would have kept the baby. But that's not the conversation that we're having right now, right? We're talking about someone who's had an abortion. And so that is me taking humanity. And so for me, I've got a boy, I've got a girl. Eventually down the line, I'll probably engage in another romantic relationship, get married, and maybe have more kids, if that is what is purpose for me. But right now, in this stage in my life, I don't want any kids. So I know that I don't want any babies. I don't want the 3 a.m. wake-up calls and the breastfeeding and the temper tantrums. I don't want all of that. My kids are in a stage where we can really communicate as little humans, trying to figure out how to, build a bond together. And so because I don't share that space emotionally and intellectually, it makes the transition a little bit better. Again, being a gestational surrogate, that changes things too. Because if I was a traditional, just for me, I speak for myself, I wouldn't feel comfortable with half of my DNA going home with someone else and I don't get to see them. But because I'm not biologically nor genetically related to these babies, that also brings a level of healthy disconnection. So I've been very purpose in the decisions that I've made and the position that I'm in. And as far as being prepared for postpartum, right, the process of giving up the babies not giving up, but really giving the babies to their intended parents, and what that looks like for me to be without the babies, because my body's been preparing for babies. So it's kind of like, okay, the body's kind of like, okay, but you don't have any babies, but we still have,
all the after effects.
All the after effects. The agency has put in services for support. I have a really good support system already. But then in addition to that, I'm surrendering to the process. That's the best part, is not wanting to control the process. Oh, I'm going to be better. I'm going to snatch back and everything will be fine. And they don't have to think about the kids, honoring how they feel, because they're going through this process with me. They've had a year. And like I said, I started this journey a year ago. They've had a year to process, hey, mommy's going to have some babies for another family and the babies won't stay with us. But still, there's newness there. It's just different. So with me being able to acknowledge the fact that I may or may not be in a space where my postpartum experience can change from what I think it would be, which is closure, and then working on, getting my body rehabbed and, healing, that allows me to not be so overwhelmed when the postpartum experience comes, right? So that's kind of where we're at this point. If it changes, I'll let you know. But right now, I'm good. No attachment, and we're good.
Hey, for a man of your pregnancy and after, I'm going to be there for you. Like I said, you need to talk to, you need somebody. Because, see, I have a little license massage therapy nobody know about. I can help you out a little bit on my end, too. So I got a little something in that field, too, from back not dating in Tennessee, so I can help you. I can help you, because I've helped out my friend who came on before you. She'll tell you he helped me out. So.
Well, I definitely appreciate the support. I've got a massage therapist that does he does some reflexology and some energy work on me that balances me. But I'll tell you, if he is not available, you'll be the next person that I call.
Make sure I'm in town. You know how I travel.
You do that. You do that. Hey, you build your brand. It comes with the territory. You got to build your brand.
You got that right. So I can tell you what, this has been a great conversation because, like I said, a lot of people had not heard this before on radio like this, and hearing from a black woman who can relate to some of our listeners out here. So it's good that you're doing this for these intended parents, helping them out, because it takes a special person to do that, and I'm glad that you're doing it. Share the story here with us on the Bossman Show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And we'll look forward to doing it again next week with you, what you got for it next week. So, folks, that was Dr. Vernette, Bossman. We're out.
For all your photo, video, and voiceover needs, check out the fine folks at Blueberry Productions. They will take good care of you. If you don't believe me, you can see for yourself. Check out their work at blueberryproductions.tv, the Facebook page, Blueberry Productions, also a Vimeo page, a YouTube page, and it's Blueberry, BLUBERRY, Prod on Twitter. Check them out today. Blueberry Productions, great people, great work, great service.
Fantasy football season is fast approaching, and if you're looking for an edge this season, you need to contact the guys at Draft Day Consultants. The concept is a simple one. Draft Day Consultants takes your requests and connects you with one of their trusted analysts, who then guide you through your draft, whether you just need a sounding board on decisions, or if you need them to conduct your entire draft. Draft Day Consultants has you covered. Every one of their consultants has a proven track record of success, and have conducted hundreds, even thousands of mock drafts. Thanks to this year-round research and analysis, the guys at DDC have an unmatched understanding of player values. So gain an edge on your league mates this season by hitting up draftdayconsultants.com. That's www.draftdayconsultants.com. Now get after it, fantasy footballers.
Yeah, it's your man JC, the host with the most, baby, and it goes down each and every Saturday night right here in the city of Memphis. That's right, y'all. It goes down at Clicks Sports Bar, Memphis, baby. 3705 Malco Way, Memphis, Tennessee, 38125. Come out and join us, the Three Kings, each and every Saturday night for the livest karaoke in the city. Everybody gets in free till 10 p.m. Only $5 after. Great food. We got drink specials. We got all kind of games, man. We got the pool tables popping. Whatever you want, we got you, man. Come on out. Have a good time with us each and every Saturday night. That's Clicks Sports Bar, Memphis.